Let's now cut across live to the House of Commons in London as questions loom over the police investigation into Downing Street lockdown parties. Let's listen in.
The Paymaster General, I accept he may not be able to answer this question now, but can he assure the House that he will keep, either he or other ministers will keep the House posted about whether the Prime Minister is going to be interviewed by the Metropolitan Police either as a witness or as a potential suspect in this criminal investigation?
Well, I thank him for his question, but of course the police will conduct the investigation, as they do in any case, entirely at their own discretion, and I would not expect to be informed about that, and nor would the House expect me to be.
Maria Riedel.
Mr. Speaker, there have been newspaper reports of staff being told to delete evidence of parties from their phones, and staff fearing to give evidence to the Sue Gray inquiry for fear that the PM will see it and there'll later be recriminations. So now that there's a police investigation, will the Paymaster General make it clear throughout Whitehall that all evidence must be given to the police, and will he undertake to publish the report and evidence so that we can all see at the end of this affair that it has been done?
Well, I think one can draw a conclusion, if I may say so, from the fact that the Cabinet Office, in their liaison with the Metropolitan Police, have, according to the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, satisfied her that an investigation should take place, and that should give comfort to those who might otherwise doubt the investigation, that it is a proper and due process investigation. And as in all cases where due process should be followed in the interests of fairness, it would not be appropriate to presuppose any result of a police investigation, or for that matter, of an independent Cabinet Office investigation. And as I've already said, I would expect the findings to be published in due course.
Shelley's father.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would my right honourable friend agree with me that it is a long-standing convention in this House that when there are independent inquiries and investigations, they are allowed to run their course and prejudgments aren't made in this House? Yeah. Given that is the case, and it would be advisable that that convention be carried on, would my right honourable friend also agree with me that we really do need to concentrate on matters that really affect our constituents on a day-to-day basis? Cost of living, energy prices and so on, as well as the fact that there are 100,000 Russian troops on the Ukrainian border, which threatens global instability.
He makes a powerful point about the pressing international situation, particularly as regards Ukraine and Russia. And I know the Prime Minister is focused on that matter. I also understand the anxiety and indignation of many who are frustrated by the reports that have been emanating over a course of many weeks about alleged gatherings in the Downing Street area. The reality of the matter is the Prime Minister is focused, as he has been focused, on delivering for this country, as he's succeeded in delivering vaccines, as he's succeeded in delivering on the manifesto commitments, and he'll continue that laser focus.
Mr. Speaker, it's clear this government is now in total meltdown. Story after story about COVID laws being broken in Number 10, revelations about honourable members having constituency funding threatened by government whips, and now a Prime Minister and his staff under police investigation. In the midst of a pandemic and a cost of living crisis, and with Europe on the brink of war in Ukraine, we cannot go on with this chaotic government. No. Does the Minister accept that the Prime Minister's authority is in tatters? Will he advise his boss to do the right thing in the national interest and resign?
Minister.
Well, I thank him for his advice on propriety, but he will forgive me. He will forgive me if I decline to follow it.
Theresa Villiers.
Mr. Speaker, will the Minister agree that anyone taking a view on the Prime Minister must take into account the fact that he's presided over the most successful vaccination programme in the world, which is taking us out of this pandemic ahead of most other countries in the world?
She's absolutely right. And we would be in lockdown now were it not for this Prime Minister.
It's not standing. Ben Bradshaw.
Mr. Speaker, is the Prime Minister not simply compounding his previous terrible mistakes by continuing to deny culpability, leading to an unnecessary and expensive police inquiry when he could do the decent thing and resign?
Minister.
I'm sure he would expect fairness to apply to all in this country, whether it be one of his constituents or one of mine. And I would hope and expect that he would not wish to see unfairness to anyone. What we are doing is we are cooperating at the Cabinet Office with a police investigation. That will carry on and take its natural course, as police investigations invariably take their natural course in an orderly way, unencumbered by interference from the executive.
David Boris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the Paymaster General consider the Metropolitan Police or any other police force looking into the activities of the Leader of the Opposition with his Beers party? As far as I can see, there's no difference. What would you say to that, Paymaster?
Minister.
Well, my honourable friend makes an interesting point, but of course police investigations and how they conduct themselves are operationally independent. I'm sure they will have heard what he said.
Pete Wishart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does he not think that it would be a good idea just to set up a police special operations unit and room in number 10 Downing Street? Because whilst they're looking at this one, they could perhaps look at cash for honours, cash for access, PPE for pals, paid advocacy, breaking the ministerial code, and just all the other general Tory badness.
Minister.
Well, I have to say, a quick Google analysis of the SNP would not be particularly edifying. But what I will say is that despite noises off, this Prime Minister is focused on what matters to the British people, and it's right that these matters conclude in an orderly way.
Reb Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I welcome this investigation. But you can see the absolute terror, the terror on the benches opposite. For them, Partygate, they know they're up against a Prime Minister and a government which has brought youth unemployment to its lowest ever level. A government and a Prime Minister, led by the Prime Minister, that of course brought us the AstraZeneca vaccine, has the most successful booster programme in the world, and that is why, opposite absolute terror, that we should focus on policy in this place, focus on the priorities of the British people, and that's why they're so desperate to land this even as the inquiry goes ahead.
I agree completely, Mr. Speaker. The PM also welcomes the announcement by the Met Police today, because it's alongside the Sue Gray inquiry, which the PM set up, I might add, that will offer the public the clarity they need to help draw a line under these events.
Andy MacDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My Middlesbrough constituents have obeyed the rules and done exactly what the Prime Minister demanded of them and abided by the laws that he initiated. Doesn't the Paymaster General understand that the continued refusal to do the right and decent thing only serves to damage our democracy and tarnish our reputation across the world, and that will not be turned around until such time as the Prime Minister goes and brings this shameful business to an end?
Minister.
No, I don't agree with his characterisation.
Mr. Speaker, does the Paymaster agree? Does the Paymaster agree that compared with being interviewed under caution for flogging peerages, as Tony Blair was, compared with trying to prosecute a former First Minister of Scotland when they were told there was no evidence to do so, and compared with taking money from Chinese spies, that eating a piece of birthday cake is a relatively minor offence?
My friend makes his point powerfully and eloquently.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.